You graduated from college. You stood there with your degree in hand and thought, this is it. I'm ready. Ready for work, ready for life, ready for success. At first, things moved fast. Your first job, then a better one. New responsibilities, new confidence. People praised you for being reliable. You were the one who handled pressure, the one who stayed late when others left. And slowly, without realizing it, you stopped learning. Not because you were lazy, but because you felt done. You told yourself, I already proved myself. You told yourself, experience matters more now. Years passed. Then one day, something felt wrong. You were sitting in a meeting listening quietly when you noticed it. The person leading the discussion was younger than you. Not just younger, less experienced, and yet they were in charge. You smiled. Yeah, you nodded, but inside, something cracked. This is where Mark's story begins. Mark was 35 years old. He worked in an operations department at a growing company. He wasn't failing. That was the problem. He was doing just fine. He showed up on time. He finished tasks. He fixed problems when others couldn't. Managers trusted him, but they didn't notice him. For 3 years, Mark's title stayed the same. For 3 years, promotions came and went. Each time, someone younger stepped into a role Mark wanted. When the team lead position opened, Mark was confident. He had trained half the team. He knew the systems better than anyone. The role went to Dan, a 26-year-old analyst. Dan was smart, friendly, hungry. Mark congratulated him. Then he went home, angry. They don't value experience anymore, Mark told himself. They just want new faces. That thought made him feel better. For a while. A few weeks later, Mark's manager called him in. You're dependable, she said. You're consistent. Mark waited for the rest. But, she continued, we need people who bring new thinking. New thinking. The words stayed with him all day. That night, Mark opened his laptop, not to relax, to check something. He searched topics people mentioned at work: automation, process optimization, data tools. Everything looked unfamiliar. He closed the laptop. I don't need this, he told himself. I've been doing this job for years. But the doubt stayed. 2 months later, the company introduced a new system. Everyone attended a mandatory training. The instructor asked a simple question. Who here understands how this model works? Hands went up. Mark's didn't. He understood the job. He understood the goals. But the language had changed. People spoke confidently about tools he had never touched. He felt invisible, not because he wasn't capable, because he was outdated. That night, Mark didn't turn on the TV. He sat quietly, thinking. He realized something uncomfortable. He hadn't learned anything new on purpose in years. The next morning, Mark ran into Sarah, a senior manager in her early 60s. Sarah was respected, not because of her title, because of her sharp mind. She was always reading. Mark noticed the book in her hand. You still study this stuff? He asked. Sarah smiled. I study so I don't disappear. That sentence hit him harder than any feedback ever had. I thought experience protects you, Mark said. Sarah shook her head. Experience without learning becomes routine, she replied. She paused, then added quietly, the world rewards growth, not comfort. Mark didn't argue, because deep down, he knew she was right. Sarah invited Mark for coffee later that week. She didn't motivate him. She didn't scare him. She explained reality. Your degree gave you entry, she said, but learning decides how far you go. Mark listened carefully. I see people like you all the time, Sarah continued. Hardworking, honest, reliable. She leaned forward. They don't lose opportunities because they're bad. They lose them because they stop growing. Mark felt exposed, but also relieved, because now he knew the real problem, and problems can be fixed. Sarah pulled out a notebook. 3 hours a week, she said. Mark frowned. That's it? That's everything, she replied. She wrote it down. 30 minutes reading or watching something new. 30 minutes learning inside your field. 2 hours applying one skill. No skipping, she said. No excuses. Then she looked at him seriously. Give this 6 months. If nothing changes, you can quit. Mark nodded. For the first time in years, he felt something different. Not confidence, hope. Mark thought starting would be easy. It wasn't. The first Monday morning, his alarm rang 30 minutes earlier than usual. He stared at the ceiling. I'll start next week, his mind whispered. But Sarah's words echoed louder. The world rewards growth, not comfort. He got up. He made coffee. He opened a book she had recommended. The words felt heavy. He read the same paragraph 3 times and still didn't understand it. His brain felt slow, rusty. This was the part no one talks about. Learning again doesn't feel powerful. It feels humiliating. Mark wanted to quit that first morning, but he didn't. Finding 3 hours a week wasn't easy. Mark didn't magically gain extra time. He had to take it from somewhere. He stopped watching late-night shows. He gave up lazy Saturday mornings. He said no to scrolling without purpose. At first, it felt unfair. Why do I have to do this now? Others seemed to move ahead without trying. But slowly, something shifted. Mark wasn't just consuming information. He was training his attention, and attention changes everything. By the 4th week, Mark noticed something. In a team meeting, a familiar problem came up. A process delay everyone had accepted as normal. This time, Mark saw it differently. He had learned a simple framework during his Wednesday session. Nothing advanced, nothing impressive, but it worked. Can we try this approach? Mark asked carefully. The room went quiet. His manager looked at him. Walk us through that, she said. Mark explained, slowly, clearly. No big words, no confidence tricks, just understanding. The idea was approved. After the meeting, someone stopped him. Where did you learn that? Mark surprised himself with his answer. I've been learning. Confidence didn't come back like a celebration. It returned quietly. Mark started asking better questions. He listened more carefully. He prepared differently. People noticed, not because he was louder, because he was clearer. One afternoon, Dan, the younger team lead, approached him. I heard you're working on new tools, Dan said. Mind if I ask you something? Months ago, that would have hurt. Now, it didn't. Mark helped him, and something unexpected happened. The jealousy faded, because learning replaced comparison. 5 months later, the company announced a new initiative, a cross-team role. More responsibility, more visibility. Mark hesitated. The old Mark would have waited. The new Mark prepared. He spent 2 extra weeks applying what he had learned, building examples, testing ideas. When he applied, he didn't talk about experience. He showed growth. Mark got the role. Not because he was the oldest, not because he complained the loudest, because he was current. His salary increased, his responsibilities expanded. But that wasn't the biggest change. The biggest change was internal. Mark no longer felt afraid of younger colleagues. He felt curious. Mark didn't become smarter. He became deliberate. That's the difference most people miss. You don't fall behind because you're bad. You fall behind because you stop updating yourself. Your degree was never meant to carry you for life. It was meant to start you. If this story feels uncomfortable, that's good. It means you recognize yourself. So here's the question you should ask today. When was the last time you learned something difficult on purpose? If the answer is, I don't remember, you already know what to do. Pick one skill. Block 3 hours this week. Start badly. Progress doesn't come from confidence. It comes from consistency. Mark didn't change in one day. He changed by refusing to stop. And so can you. Because the truth is simple. The world will always promote the people who are still growing. The only question is whether one of them will be you. If this story touched your heart, please like this video. Share it with someone who feels slow or left behind. Subscribe to Wisdom Square for weekly stories like this. We are here to grow together. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.